welcome to this special edition of The Interview. We are in Tripoli, and today our guest is Ghassan Salamé. Ghassan Salamé, hello. You are the special envoy to Libya for the United Nations. And, well, simply, I would like to ask you a first question about what has just happened in Misrata. The Niveen cargo ship rescued a group of people who were trying to cross the Mediterranean towards Europe. These people were brought back to Libya, and they refused to disembark from that cargo ship. Now, very recently, that lasted for about 10 days before the Libyan authorities forcefully disembarked them. What is your take about what happened there?
Well, we have been helping them on the humanitarian side from day one. We have been providing food and clothes and medical support. We have been able to extract 14 of them peacefully, who badly wanted to leave, especially a lady and her baby. And then the UN agencies plus Médecins Sans Frontières started negotiating with them. Unfortunately, it was a special case in the sense that they were divided. Some of them were ready to disembark, and some others wanted to stay and to go back towards Europe. At one point, it was evident that those who wanted to disembark were not allowed by the others to disembark. We would have liked the negotiations to be fruitful as it was with the first 14. Unfortunately, it became a sort of tense situation among the migrants themselves. Plus, the owners of the ship were pressuring the authorities to get back their ship.
But it does ask a lot of questions on a legal standpoint. I mean, yes. These people are indeed rescued in the Mediterranean Sea, but it is Libyan search and rescue who indeed give the alert. But on the other hand, they're brought back to Libyan coast, and the UN itself says in some reports that Libya is no longer a safe port for migrants.
All this was done before the UN gets into the picture. The UN got into the picture when they were in Misrata. There is some conflict, and I don't have drones for you to give the final answer about where the boat was when it was heading towards Misrata or not. I don't have a final answer, and I don't have the means to know where it was in international waters, in European waters, Maltese waters. I don't know.
Isn't this happening also because European countries are closing their ports and basically forcing the Libyans to do the dirty work as far as controlling immigration to Europe?
This is a European problem. From Libya's perspective, it's very different. Libya is a place where you have now 740,000 illegal migrants. So the daily challenge is not the dozens or hundreds who try to cross the Mediterranean. It is basically what to do with the 740,000 here. And that is why we are working more on that, because it's a huge population. I know that there are like 3% maximum of them who are now in detention centers, and everybody is talking about the detention center. The real issue, what to do with the 740,000. My view is that Libya will need them. My view is Libya has always needed expatriate population to help. And my most serious challenge is not what the Europeans do, is how to help the Libyan authorities regularize the situation of these illegal migrants. And this is something that we can now envisage. Why? Because the flow of migrants from Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, has gone down dramatically in the past few months, notably from West Africa. In fact, it's a question of motivation. I can summarize it in a few terms. Those who are fleeing dictatorship or repression are more willing to take risks, two big risks. The Sahara first, the Mediterranean second. And those who are mainly moving for economic reasons are less willing to take these risks. That is why we have voluntary repatriation taking place. IOM and HCR are doing a lot of it. And recently, 100 detainees in Zintan have been repatriated 3 days ago. So this is from the Libyan perspective. I know the European debate is elsewhere. What should Europe do, not do, etc. But this is, I would say, the small angle. The big angle is the hundreds of thousands who are here. You can see them in the streets. They need a lot of help. They need food. They need work. They need papers. And that's our main concern.
As far as Libyan politics are concerned, you took part last week in the Palermo conference. All the parties were represented, though indeed Khalifa Haftar attended and then decided not to continue. But a lot of people we've been speaking here, we've been here for a week, are telling us that they feel this was just yet another round of talks on the international scene, and they're not seeing any tangible results. Do you consider Palermo was a success?
Depending what we were expecting. In view of what I was expecting, it was not a bad thing. It was a useful milestone. First, because I saw a lot of conviviality among the Libyans there. You know that there were hundreds of Libyans in Palermo all of a sudden, and I saw them going together to restaurants, discussing, etc., east, west, south, north, you name it. So I like this state of conviviality, which I haven't seen that easy before. Second, as far as the UN is concerned, I had given my brief to the Security Council on the 8th of November, and I have proposed a sort of recalibrated action plan. And I was happy that the international community present in Palermo has unanimously supported the brief. So I was not expecting more. I got what I expected.
As far as Khalifa Haftar, as I said, he came for the picture with Sarraj and then didn't take part in the dinner, etc., etc. That made a lot of buzz in the media, as you know. Do you believe he's willing to negotiate?
I am sure he is. That's what he told me. I think that Mr. Haftar wants to be part of the political process. He certainly has his conditions. He certainly has his ambitions. But any Libyan has conditions and ambitions. Why not him? But to the basic question, is Mr. Haftar interested by the political process? My answer is yes. And I know that he supports the convening of the national conference in the beginning of next year.
You yourself have said that it was impossible to hold elections here in the country by the end of this year. But you also said that it would potentially be possible, that it will be possible in spring of 2019. What makes it possible in spring of 2019 and impossible at the end of this year? What do you think will change? What is the problem that's preventing it?
The joke when I was serving in Iraq was that democracy is one thing, electoracy is something else. Elections are part of a larger political process. You need to hold elections when the conditions are met. They held elections here in 2014, and it aggravated the problem. It didn't solve it. We have now 2 parliaments, 3 governments. Nobody needs a 3rd parliament or a 4th government. So you need the conditions to be met. Today, they are not met. The conditions are better. We have replaced most of the material that was destroyed by the terrorist attack against the High National Electoral Committee. Not most, all of them. All of it is there now. So it was not there like a week ago. It is there. Second, you need a better security situation. Thanks to the ceasefire brokered by the UN on 4th and 9th of September, the situation in Tripoli, as you can see, is much, much better than it had been in the past 4 years. 3, you need the state authority to be more palpable in the street. And we are supporting a fast track with the new Minister of Interior to have regular policemen taking care of the street. And we need to replicate this in other cities. Plus, I need a law. I still don't have an electoral law. So we need pressure on the parliament to produce that law. And finally, you need something important. In Paris, 4 leaders who were there have committed to accept the results of the elections. But I need many more stakeholders to make the same pledge.
Security in Tripoli, you're just talking about it. We've been here for a week and we have heard some shooting pretty much every night in the distance from where we're staying. What is the actual situation? Is this truce holding? We saw that there was, just after the Palermo conference, there was an attack on the airport area. What is the exact situation? What will it take to disarm these militias?
Look, you need to be sort of relative in your assessment. You are comparing what to what. If you are comparing a few shots in the night in Tripoli to what the situation was 2 months ago, I can tell you I can't sleep without these shots. I need them because then I feel I know where I am. I mean, there are 15 to 20 million pieces of weapons in the hand of the Libyan population. And you want full calm in no time. If you compare it to what the situation was in September or last year or etc., anybody would tell you the situation is much, much better. Is it as we want it? Is it optimal? Certainly not. For that, you need the Ministry of Interior to take control of many of the state institutions, the port, the airport, etc. It is underway. It is underway. I would say in 3 to 4 months, most of the ministries of the sovereign institutions, of the public services, will be back in the hands of the Ministry of Interior. It is taking way under our eyes. We will have a female police to search ladies at the airport. We will have the SOS 24/7 police action. We are training the trainers and training the elements now while I'm talking to you. So something that has not been done in the past 7 years is being done now after the recent clashes in Tripoli.
Thank you ever so much, Ghassan Salamé, for giving us this interview. Thank you for watching it, and you can watch it again on France24.com. Many thanks.